Today, we're diving into a disappearance that is just profoundly strange. It's a story with absolutely no real answers, no suspects, and one single piece of evidence that, frankly, defies all logical explanation.
So, let's set the scene. The year is 2009. Seems like a pretty normal year, right? But for one family, it was the year their world completely turned upside down. Because in a quiet, ordinary town, a young woman did something that just shouldn't be possible in our modern, super-connected world. She completely vanished. I mean, without a single trace.
But what really sets this case apart, what makes it so chilling, is this one piece of evidence. It's something the police have never really explained, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. Before we get into all the weird stuff, though, you have to know who we're talking about. You have to understand the person at the heart of this mystery. So who was Emily Carter?
Well, from everything we know, Emily was just a regular person. She was 29 years old, worked as a bartender, lived by herself. And this is crucial. Police couldn't find anyone who had a problem with her. No grudges, no known enemies. She was just Emily.
All right, let's piece together the timeline here. How does a totally normal night spiral into this decade-long mystery? What were her last known moments? Okay, so it was a Tuesday night. Emily finishes her shift, clocks out, and does what thousands of us do every single day. She sends a quick text to her sister that just says, heading home, and that's it. Somewhere between sending that text and walking through her front door, she's gone. So naturally, the first place investigators looked was her apartment. And what they found there, well, it just didn't make any sense at all. The scene was unsettling.
And this, right here, is the biggest puzzle of the whole case. Her car was right outside. Inside the apartment, her wallet, her keys, even her phone were all just sitting there. But there was no sign of a crime. The door wasn't kicked in, there was no sign of a struggle. It's a total contradiction. All the things you need to, run away and start a new life were left behind, but there was zero evidence of violence. The only thing missing was Emily herself.
With the apartment itself offering zero answers, the police had to focus on the few very strange clues they had. And this is where the story goes from being just a mystery to something truly haunting.
The first, and by far the weirdest, clue they had came in the dead of night. To be exact, at 2:17 in the morning.
A call was made to 911. Now here's the kicker. It came from Emily Carter's phone, the same phone that was later found sitting inside her empty apartment. Think about that for a second. A call from a missing person's phone is a huge lead, but a call from a phone found at the scene? That changes everything. It's a paradox that has just stumped everyone for years.
And the call itself? It was incredibly short. It lasted a grand total of just 6 seconds.
So what can you possibly learn in 6 seconds? Not much, right? The 911 dispatcher didn't hear any words, no one crying for help. All they could hear was faint breathing and something else. A very strange, very specific noise in the background.
So what was this sound? Well, the official report contains a description that is enough to give you chills. The investigators who analyzed that 6-second recording described it as the sound of metal scraping concrete.
You better believe the police traced that call's location and raced over there. But when they arrived, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No Emily, no sign of a struggle, no idea what could have made that sound. It was another complete dead end.
And just when you think this case couldn't possibly get any weirder, another lead popped up from the neighborhood that just added a whole new layer of confusion to everything.
A neighbor came forward and said they saw someone who looked just like Emily. Here's the thing, though. This wasn't on the night she went missing. This alleged sighting was a full 3 days after she had already been reported missing. So, was it her? Was it just a case of mistaken identity? It was yet another question with no answer.
So you've got this handful of bizarre clues and a total lack of any real evidence. So where does that leave the case today? Well, the truth is, it's pretty much right back where it started. After all this time, the official file on Emily Carter's disappearance is still open. But there's nothing new in it. No body has ever been recovered. Not one credible suspect has ever been identified. It really is the definition of an unsolved mystery.
So we're left with these questions that just kind of hang in the air. If her phone was in her empty apartment, who made that call? What on earth was that sound of metal on concrete? And really, how does a person just vanish?